Alrighty here. This is a header install for Grand Prix. This will work on pretty much most W bodies with the same engine. They're pretty common. Mine is the ZZP brand, similar to Speed Daddies and all that. The order of which you take the components off doesn't matter too much. You can either start from the front and work your way back, or vice versa. Doesn't matter. But as long as you get them all off, you should be good. I'm going to start with underneath the car with the downpipe. First thing you want to do is spray that there and that with some good luck juice. And then find your way up there. Spray that bolt and the other one right there. Same good luck juice. Pop ye old O2 sensor out. I always like to leave one a little loose just so it doesn't fall on my head. And make sure you eat your Wheaties. They're on wee tight. Alright, success. Next is the front log. This is actually pretty easy. It's just a handful of bolts right there, and then them two fellers there. Pretty simple. Good luck juice. Give it a wee little shake, and it's out of here. Alrighty, here's where the fun begins. That guy was the easiest. That one, still decently easy. Bolts are typically harder to get off on that one. Now we're into the fun part. The back header, or manifold I should say, and the crossover. In order to get to that easier, you'd want to take off your intake, all your EGR, and most of this wiring. Taking the rear manifold out, it's going to be going through here. Just enough room. Just barely though. Good luck juice. One more. Alrighty, after the crossover is off, now it's time to deal with the EGR. There's a bolt right there, comes right off. That just literally pops out. Then there are two bolts holding this bottom bracket on. After you take those two bolts off, this whole entire thing is loose. Now, the one that is a pain, that guy right there, the bottom one right there, that one's going to be a trick to get to. To give more room for the rear section, it's a whole lot easier to rock the engine forward, put your mounts back in. To get to the last bolt of the EGR, it's right there, right where my finger is. There's the opening, and it's right there, pretty far. We're going to need a whole bunch of extensions. Now that the EGR is out of the way, got a lot more room now. Next up is our dipstick tube for the trans. Right here. Easiest way to get to the dipstick bolt is right there, right there. 10 mil, a lot of extensions. Before you yoink the tube out, make sure you put a drip pan underneath, because fluid will come out. Not much though, but some will. Alright, to gain stupid amount of access back here, this is only really needed for getting the back bolts. Grab yourself a ratchet strap and find a way to hook somewhere. I just went to the bolt right here on the mount. This thing's trash anyway, I don't really care. And rock the engine as far forward as possible. Now look at that beautiful room. Now, if you have access to an impact gun and 1,000,001 extensions, it's actually easier to let loose the engine, let it rock all the way back, and just hit all the bolts with an impact gun. That's what I did. If you don't have that, do this trick. Gives you a hell of a lot more room. Once you got all the bolts out, this wiggler free, come out right here. And victory. Factory original. Not even rust. Well, some spots. A little comparison here. Obviously aftermarket, but stock one. And the ZZP downpipe versus long tube, different split union. Wish I had a third hand, but it comes in at an angle right there, no problem. Alright, with a little bit of wiggling, it's in, it's solid. Next, EGR. The placement is a little bit higher, so this tube will need to be bent. If you have headers that don't have EGR, don't worry about this step. EGR is in. It's just a bolt here, the two mountings, one and one, and then the other one right there. Nothing should be pinched or anything. Ignore this. That was like that before I started, and I don't really care. I'm not going to fix it. It's just EGR, but it's in. This line right here, you do have to bend and flex a little bit to get it in, because the point is just slightly higher than original, but it still fits like new. This front section goes in an angle, slides in like it was almost meant to be. It made it a little bit difficult because my intercooler hose, but if that wasn't there, it'd go in even easier. Alrighty, the front section is in. It is in and all good. Do not do what I just did. Make sure you leave the back very loose and then get the front and while they're both loose. Because this joint right here is extremely tight. Took a little too long for it to happen for what I would like, but it is in. If anybody is curious about fan clearance, there's about finger width from the fan. That is completely stock, no relocation. It is also the shorter dog bones, so they clear without any modification. It is close, but they do clear. I mean, I could remove that metal heat shield and have even more clearance, but nah, probably won't. But yeah, they look good. The fan clears barely though. Clears. Dipstick in. One clearance issue I did have is the wire harness for the passenger side fan. All I did was re-loom it because there was pretty much no wire loom left. And I added a zip tie, kind of see it right on the end of my flashlight, to sink it down in there. You've got, I just lost my flashlight. You've got finger width of distance and a little bit less finger width from the fan. I may get the spacer kit, I don't know, we'll find out if it's a problem or not. But for now, it clears. The first problem I have encountered with the ZZP headers, dipstick tube. It is touching quite a bit, and there is, you can't really see it, but I cannot bolt it in. I'm going to have to bend that. It is in. The dipstick tube was a pain. I had to bend it up so much I actually kinked it. I had to order a new one. I got it to work for now to get the dipstick in and out of that tube. That's probably one of the worst things about this header set. Everything else easily you can deal with, went in relatively smoothly, except for the dipstick for the transmission. made this video as a guide, more or less. I assume you already know how to work on one of these vehicles, just to show what you are in for on doing a header job. One other clearance issue that I found is way back here. I don't know if you can see it that well. Focus. But right there, right on the end of my flashlight, it actually hits the body. The headers actually hit the body of the vehicle. At the moment, it is not touching, but when you put the car in reverse, it torques the engine forward enough to where it just barely touches. I mean, these shorter dog bones do rotate the engine forward, so these may be part of the issue on that. However, I did put in factory length ones, which rock the engine back a little bit, and along the power steering rack, the lines for it, it would touch as well. So you're touching both ways, doesn't matter which kind of motor mounts you hit. That's a little disappointing for how much these headers costed, but they do work quite well, and I still am happy with them. There is no leaks at all.